Do I really need to do this? Because I kind of don't want to. But hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brandon. Welcome back to Marotta Media. And today, I will be reviewing a movie that I was really looking forward to this year, and that was Jurassic World Dominion. Jurassic World Dominion is the sixth Jurassic Park film and a sequel to 2018's Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which, in my opinion, was one of the worst movies of 2018. I hated that movie and everything about it. And Dominion picks up right where the last movie left off. And I don't really know how to describe the plot of this movie, so I'll just read it straight from IMDb. 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar, dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. This fragile balance will reshape the future and determine once and for all whether human beings are to remain the apex predators on a planet they now share with history's most fearsome creatures in a new era. Right off the bat, that's a completely misleading plot synopsis, but we'll get to that. So like I said, I absolutely hated the last Jurassic World movie. I thought Fallen Kingdom was horrible in just about every single way. In fact, if you subscribe to me from the very beginning of my channel when I started doing reviews, my first ever video was the worst movies of 2018. And in that video, I included Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I think at number 3 or number 2, I don't remember. It's been a few years. But I had such high hopes for Dominion. I thought the trailer looked awesome, and they brought back the old cast. Samneill, Lauradern, and Jeff Goldblum have all returned from the original trilogy. And since Fallen Kingdom was so horrible, there's no way that this movie can't be good, right? Right? It is good, right? Please tell me it's good. Unfortunately, this movie is not good at all. In fact, I will make a bold statement and say that Jurassic World Dominion is not only worse than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, this is the worst Jurassic Park movie ever made, and it's not even close. For starters, the script for Dominion is one of the worst things that has ever been written. It's completely unfocused. It constantly jumps back and forth between all these different characters, and it doesn't seem like there was any reason to do that. There are even some characters that are introduced and then never seen again. I honestly don't even know their names. And there's even a few characters who are brand new and we've never met up until this movie, and they play an integral role in the narrative. And to tell you the truth, I don't even remember their names, so I need to look them up first. Okay, Kayla Watts and Ramsey Cole. So this irrelevant Kayla Watts character is just this pilot that was hired to smuggle Maisie across to a different country. And if you don't remember who Maisie is, she was the little girl at the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom who let all of the dinosaurs free. And then Kayla Watts notices that something is up, and she's like, what's with this little girl? And they're like, mind your business. And then she just decides to intervene and help. We don't know anything about her. We don't know who she is. I honestly don't even remember them saying her name at any point. So why is she here, and why does she play such a huge role in the story? Same with this Ramsey Cole guy. He's just this dude who works for Biosyn, which is a company that's been mentioned throughout the whole franchise. And he also plays a very important role in the story, but again, he was just randomly introduced. We don't know anything about him. We don't know who he is. We don't know where he came from, but we need to accept it. And aside from focusing on this cast of brand new characters, as well as the old ones and all of these other ones that you just don't give a shit about, this movie chooses to focus on plot points that you also don't give a shit about. And two things it chooses to focus on are Blue's baby and Maisie. The Jurassic World trilogy has made a consistent mistake throughout all 3 films. It assumes that the audience gives a shit about Blue. If you don't remember, Blue is the raptor that Chris Pratt trained in the first movie. She also made an appearance in the second one, and she's in this one too. But me personally, I couldn't care less about Blue or what happens to her, and I don't think I'm the only person who's alone in thinking that. So why am I all of a sudden supposed to care about her baby that she gave birth to? I really don't care, people. If Blue died, I wouldn't bat an eye. And then there's Maisie, who is being hunted by the people from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And like I said, Maisie is the bitch that's responsible for all of the events that lead up to this movie. She released all the dinosaurs at the end of Fallen Kingdom. Why did she do that? Because they're alive, like me. Which, in my opinion, is one of the worst endings that I have ever seen in any movie in recent memory. But it's not just these plot points. I don't care about any of these characters, and that goes for both the old and the new. The new characters like Owen and Claire, played by Chris Pratt and Brycedallashoward, are just shallow and forgettable. And the old characters, played by the original trio, just seem absolutely useless to the plot. It feels like they were only brought back for nostalgia rather than actually serving a purpose to the story. And on top of that, all of the performances from everyone feel absolutely phoned in. Everyone here seems like that they're just here for a paycheck. They don't seem like they're passionate about this project at all, and it really shows. And on top of being forgettable, irrelevant, and shallow, these characters are absolute fucking idiots. The amount of times a ridiculously stupid decision was made is staggering. Because like I said, these people are hunting Maisie because of her DNA or something. If I remember correctly, I think she was born out of a test tube using dinosaur DNA. And she is told explicitly numerous times by Owen and Claire not to leave the cabin that they are hiding in. But she leaves multiple times, and then eventually she gets kidnapped, sure enough. And then later on, when we're in the biosyn lab, that irrelevant character Ramsey is showing off the lab to Samneill and Lauradern. And then this guy tells them, okay, I'm gonna let you guys go off and explore by yourself. Feel free to go anywhere in the facility, but whatever you do not go through that door right there. You need to have special access to get in there, so don't try to go in there. Then he leaves, leaving them unattended. And what's the first thing they do? They walk right in to that room that they weren't supposed to go in. Then also when we're in the biosyn lab, the main antagonist of the movie, who I will explain in a bit, leaves Maisie in a room by herself with Blue's baby, whose name I believe was Beta, I think. And he leaves the remote to open the baby's cage right next to her. And outside, he and this other dude are having this conversation, and they're just talking about God knows what. And what does Maisie do? She lets the baby dinosaur loose, and it causes havoc throughout the lab, and she ends up getting away. It's such laughable writing. Why is everybody in this movie just such an idiot? Is it wrong that I was actually kind of rooting for anyone to die at this point? And then there's the villain of this movie. Do you know who the villain of Jurassic World Dominion is? It is none other than Dodgson. Do you remember who Dodgson is? Here, let me refresh your memory.
You shouldn't use my name.
Dodgson! Dodgson! We've got Dodgson here! See, nobody cares.
Yes, that guy is the villain of this movie. And I really don't understand why he's the villain of this movie, because in the very first Jurassic Park movie, he just seemed like this throwaway character. And also in this movie, he's played by a completely different actor, which makes it even harder for people to realize that he was supposed to be that character from the very first movie. There was no indication that we were supposed to know this. In fact, I didn't know it the entire time I was watching. I found out, I think, a day after the fact. So I fail to understand how the writers were trying to convey that this was a character that we already knew and were introduced to before. And on top of that, this villain's motivations are completely underdeveloped. And that is easily the biggest problem with the script of Jurassic World Dominion, is its conflict. So the main conflict of this movie is that these giant locusts are eating up all the crops all over the world, and it could cause humanity to become extinct. And it turns out that Dodgson and Biosyn are responsible for releasing all of these locusts into the world, but it's never explained why. Why are they doing this? But this was such a missed opportunity, because even though I absolutely despise the ending of Fallen Kingdom, that ending could have led to a really interesting conflict in Dominion. It could be about the struggle of humanity knowing that they're not the top dog on the food chain anymore, and how they have to learn to live and adapt with dinosaurs, something that they've never had to do. But no, instead it chooses to focus on these damn locusts, and it's just so horrible, and I don't care about any of it. Because when you have a Jurassic Park movie that chooses to focus on giant bugs rather than dinosaurs, it doesn't feel like a Jurassic Park movie. And that's another problem with this damn movie. It never felt like Jurassic Park. There's this one action sequence where Chris Pratt is riding a bike through... I honestly, I don't remember much about this movie. I'm so sorry. It was just that forgettable. But Chris Pratt is riding his bike through this city and he's being chased by some raptors. And I even asked myself at that point, what am I watching here? Am I watching Jurassic Park? Or am I supposed to be watching this very cookie-cutter Hollywood bullshit action movie? Because it definitely more so felt like the latter. There were even times where the movie reminded me of Uncharted. And if you saw my review of Uncharted earlier this year, you will know that's absolutely not a good thing because that movie was also horrible. The movie tries to be so action-packed, but just like the previous two Jurassic World movies, the action is so tame. Characters die or get eaten off screen, and that happened in the original trilogy too, but not nearly as much as it does in this trilogy. This is a movie about fucking dinosaurs. It's supposed to be bloody. It's supposed to be brutal. Like, what do you think would happen if a T-Rex ate a person? It's not gonna be pretty, but this movie does it in the most tame PG-13 way possible. Hell, PG-13 might even be giving it too much credit. It's more PG rated. And even though this movie tries to be so action-packed, it was so boring. I kid you not, I checked my watch maybe 10 times because I was bored out of my mind watching this thing. That's also partly due to the 2.5-hour runtime. Dominion had absolutely no business being nearly 3 hours long. At most, this movie should have been 1 hour and 40 minutes, but they had to tack on an extra 50 to that just to make us suffer. And another thing that annoyed the absolute shit out of me was the way this movie ended. Now, I guess this could be spoilery, but I'm not going to go over the events of what happened, but I will say that when the characters are trying to get away from something, we instead are focused on this big dinosaur battle between these 3 huge apex predators. The characters are trying to get away, but instead they're just sitting there watching like, oh my god, look at it, there's 3 dinosaurs fighting each other. Wow, that's amazing, wow. And then one of the dinosaurs ends up dying in one of the most laughably horrible ways possible. The only things that I could say positively about this movie are the CGI was alright, it looked pretty good for the most part. Jeff Goldblum basically carries the whole thing. He had several one-liners that I found to be very funny, which is saying a lot because this movie isn't funny at all. I'm not kidding you, there is a line spoken by Lauradern where she says that Samneill's character slid in her DMs. Who wrote this script? But other than that, that's really the only positive things that I could say about this movie. It's just horrendous. It truly is shocking to me how progressively worse each Jurassic Park movie has gotten since the first one. The first one is still far and away the best. The Lost World was okay, Jurassic Park 3 was not good, the first Jurassic World I actually liked, Fallen Kingdom was horrible, and Dominion is the worst thing that has ever been spawned into existence with the Jurassic Park name slapped on it. Like I said, this is the worst Jurassic Park movie ever made, and it's not particularly close. And overall, I would give Jurassic World Dominion a 2 out of 10. If this is truly the end for this franchise, then that is absolutely sad because it should have gotten a much more deserving ending than this. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my review of Jurassic World Dominion. If you guys saw this movie, let me know what you thought about it. Did you like it or did you hate it like me? And did you think it was the worst Jurassic Park movie ever made? Comment down below, I'd love to know. If you guys like this review, be sure to hit that thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. If you want to see my previous reviews, then I'll link those right over here. Other than that, I hope you all have a tremendous rest of your day. I will see you all next time.